Hi there, welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Doveson. Great to have you with us for the week of the 10th of June 2019. So how did last week go? How did you do with embellishment and adornment? Go and check out the comments below this video to go and find out my experience of working with embellishment for last week. Right, so let's have a look at what this week holds in store. Bearing in mind the overall theme for June of gardening and weeding and getting ourselves ready for the new things that want to come in, let's get into it. Our first hexagram for this week is hexagram 60, called limitation. This hexagram is all about learning how to put good boundaries, measures, and limits in place to control our behavior. A great story to understand this idea of limitation is a story of Icarus, where Icarus wanted to fly to the sun and his father made him wax wings. And you can imagine the closer he got to the sun, the wings melted and Icarus plunged to earth. And this is the example of not flying too high. So this week we are being asked to focus on, to be challenged to put in place limits and boundaries for ourselves this week. That might mean we're needing to set out and do some planning, put in place some structure. It can be the limit and measure and repeat of time. It can be creating structure in that linear timeline. It can be boundaries in relationships. It can be limits on how much we're working, on how much we're trying to achieve, and what our expectations are for the week, perhaps of ourselves and others or the people in our team. There are 3 changing lines this week. So once again, a busy cycle of change that we're going to be going through this week. The first changing line is in the 3rd position. And this changing line, which tells us some very specific advice related to change in this week, is a line that talks about limits on ourselves, limits on our behavior are absolutely critical for this week. So that's right at the get-go. We need to put limits. That might entail putting things aside for the week, things that aren't critical, or cauterizing things to limited impact, or looking at scaling things down so we're not over ambitious. This is literally like Icarus, a week and a changing line where we're being asked not to fly too high, to stay close to the ground and really flying low and taking it easy. And this changing line also says watch out for our exuberances, where we try and overdo things, where we are extravagant. Pare all those things down. Pare the spending down. Pare the time down. Measure out the time. Have your to-do lists. Tick them off. It's really about getting focused on those details. The second changing line encourages us to think about another aspect of limitation. And that is that limitations must be natural. So in other words, if you try and put a limitation where we're pushing water up the mountain, we're going to expend all our energy trying to force water to behave in a fashion it is not naturally designed to do. If we were to put aqueducts or we were to build irrigation ducts, channeling water downhill down the mountain slope into a dam, there we are leveraging the power of water, the natural tendency of water to flow downhill, and we are channeling that and focusing that through a structure. That is a natural flow and an easy application of limitation. So there's something about this week where we're being asked to not use all our energy to force a limitation. Have your eyes open to what you're trying to do, what you're trying to discipline and control. And if the controls you're trying to put in place are out of alignment with the situation, where it's going to require brute force to make the limitation work, it's going to fail, and you're going to experience the negative side effects of forced limitation. Go with the flow, understand the flow of change, understand the flow of natural processes here, and apply the limitation accordingly. And then the last changing line for this week is in the 6th position, and this says we have to also bear in mind that we have to watch and guard against very harsh limitation, and particularly how we speak and share that. In a team context, in a business context, this may be about being very careful how we curb people's authority, how we use words to put people into their boundaries and put limitations on them. In other words, this is not a good idea to use harsh language or harsh limitation to punish others or to push them back into a box unnecessarily fast or not at the right time. So 3 key focuses of change. One is we have to put in place some limitation this week, and we have to control and measure and limit our time and how we direct our energy. Number 2, we have to look for natural limitation, things that we are naturally aligned to do in the situation. And third, not to put unnecessary burdensome limitation on others, and particularly through harsh words. As we round out this week, we head to Hexagram 1, which is called the creative. This is the dragon of the hexagrams. It represents a new beginning, energy, creativity, power, this wonderful swirling dragon in the sky that's coming to help bring new energy to you as we round off this week. So my advice for the week, see the beauty in limitation and boundaries. Don't be too harsh, be natural, but put them in place on yourself first, and then appropriately on others, and then activate new beginnings, activate the wonderful new energy that is wanting to come into your life, into your business, and into your team this week. Please do go along and share your insights from the week in the comments below. And of course, subscribe to get these episodes as they land. And if you would like a personalized one-on-one session with me via Zoom or an online platform, check out ichingcafe.net for more information on how we can connect up. We'll see you soon for next week's episode. Until then, have a change and inspiring filled week.